We welcome you for the webinar, the second webinar in the series where we have decided that every quarter we will have knowledge sharing for the global, all the people who want to interested into innovation. And this is the second one. First one was somebody broadcasted from the US. I will not talk much about the people, those who are resource or myself. My name is Dr. V.K. Singh. I am Managing Director of Innovation Curis. You can see that it was sent to you in the flyer when you registered all the biodata what is required. Another one, the resource person. I will be moderating, and the resource person is Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, who is Executive Director of National Health System Resource Center of Ministry of Health, Government of India. He is a very, very renowned person. The whole issue what we wanted to bring, the theme of our organization is, we have done conference which was well attended, now we are doing webinar, we will be bringing out the magazine, this is all complimentary copies to 25,000 people, will be sent all over the globe, that how we can reduce healthcare delivery cost with the same quality and how we can learn from each other's best practices. India is known for frugal innovation and there are a lot of excitement. People want to learn how various case studies of frugal innovation has taken and how we can copy. They are not interested to copy how much volume, because that volume they will never get, but it is what they can be done to reduce the cost. And there are many players whose word over in Indian study published in Oxford, etc. That is the eye hospital we have, the Arvind Eye Hospital, you might have heard. Taking not much of your time, I will be handing over to the Dr. Sanjeev, and after his presentation we will have enough time for question answer, because last feedback was that there should be more time for question answer. Keep sending your questions in between, but answers will be in the last. We have dedicated 20 odd minutes for that, and ultimately I'll sum it up. The whole thing will be for 1 hour. Thank you very much. Over to Dr. Sanjeev Kumar. He will have some presentation and discussion, and the topic is reaching the unreached through technology innovation in public health learning from India. We have done also at our end some experiment in Gujarat, where in a primary health care we have reduced infant and maternal mortality rate, and we got the award for that purpose. So it is not only talking, but we will also publishing such case studies which has been done by many people in the globe for each other's learning. Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, please.
Thank you, Dr. Singh, and it's a pleasure for me and National Health System Resource Center to be associated with InnoHealth and to conduct this seminar. What we were looking at, and we at NHSRC always do that, is look at where innovations are required, where innovations are taking place, and what can we do to scale up those innovations. So the whole presentation will be looking at it, and maybe a disclaimer right in the beginning that the presentation will not look at comprehensively what innovations are taking place across the country. I will be giving you only some glimpses and what Ministry of Health and National Health System Resource Center is doing to identify innovation, to address public health problems in India, and to facilitate their scale up so that we can improve access of healthcare, we can improve quality of healthcare, and contribute to improvement in health indicators across the country. So those of you who are not familiar with India, India is a country with 1.25 billion population. Almost every 6th person on this planet belongs to India, and within India you have 36 states and union territories. And I remember recently I saw a map where they replaced the name of the state with the country which represented the equal population. So it was interesting to see that each one of the states is bigger than many countries and equal to the population of countries. So that's the diversity we look at. And we are a young country, so 356 million of these people are youth. Life expectancy in India has increased to 66 plus years, and when we got independence in 1947, this was 32. So it has more than doubled since independence, and it's rapidly increasing. So there is a contribution to increase in life expectancy from improvement in health indicators. In terms of infrastructure, we have close to 154,000 sub-centers. These are the most peripheral health units. Then we have more than 25,000 primary healthcare centers. And those of you who are not familiar, a sub-center looks after a population ranging from 3 to 5,000 population, and primary health centers look after a population of 30 to 50,000 depending on the terrain. In difficult terrain, the norms are relaxed. In normal areas, around 50,000 population. And for every 3 to 4 primary health centers, we have a community health center, which are the first referral points, and there are around 5,400 of these community health centers across the country. And then we have close to 650 district hospitals, which are the secondary level care institutions within the district. Can we have the next slide, please? So this is to give you an idea about various health indicators in India and what has been the progress. For some of them, we have taken a baseline of 2000-2005, and for others we have taken baseline of 1990. So if you look at reduction in infant mortality, it was coming down by about 3% every year, and that rate of decline has accelerated. And in fact, recently we looked at the data, it has almost doubled. The rate of decline since 1990 to 2008 was 3.3% annually, and it has increased to 6.6%. So rate of decline has accelerated, and one program which has contributed substantially to this accelerated decline is National Health Mission, which started for rural areas in 2005, and it included urban areas in 2013. So the whole country, both rural and urban areas, are covered. And this program looks at strengthening health systems across the country, including addition of manpower. And the functionary which didn't exist earlier has been added to it is accredited social health activist. We call them ASHA, and ASHA also means hope in Hindi. So that's an appropriate name for this functionary. This functionary did not exist before National Health Mission started, and we have a huge number of them who are working as link between community and the health system. To give you an idea where we were in under 5 mortality rate and where we are now, so we have come down from 115 to 49. The most recent data is 2013. And similarly, infant mortality is down from around 90 to around 42. And you can look at reduction in maternal mortality ratio. That again has accelerated after National Health Mission has started its operation. And those of you who are familiar with public health program, any program after you launch takes about 2 to 3 years to start showing results. So the program was launched in 2005, but you started seeing the impact around 2008. So there is a good news for us from the data we have looked at. But unfortunately, when you compare the current indicators with some of the neighboring countries which are not as well off economically, and also with countries in the rest of the world, India has not given the dividends of its recent economic development in terms of reducing various mortality rates and improvement in health indicators. So we need to do more. What we will be looking at is what is happening in technology in India and how some of those advances are helping us in contributing to improving health. So I always look at things in a more positive manner. So let's look at what are the opportunities in India. So government has started what they call is Digital India, and what is there for us to exploit as health professionals by using this technology. So we have more than 1 billion mobile phones in India, and I am told this is the largest number of mobile phones in any country in the world, and it is increasing by the day. So almost every Indian has an access to mobile phone, and we need to see how we can exploit that penetration of mobile phones to improve health indicator. And the data consumption is growing at a rate of 65% annually. So a lot more data is flowing through the internet and through mobile telephony, and we need to use it for improving health. And already e-commerce, commerce, and in many sectors e-learning is being used to take benefit of this availability and quick expansion of internet connectivity and mobile telephony. BharatNet is another initiative. It aims to connect 250,000 villages. Panchayat is in fact a group of villages which come under the local self-government, which is referred to as Panchayat in Hindi. So it's a local self-government at village level. And this is estimated to cost $18 billion. And I am told most of this money is already in the kitty with the government, because they charge service providers, telephone service provider a fee for over and above the money they contribute, and this has contributed to most of the money which is required to connect 250,000 panchayats across the country. We have other options available to connect. Cable TV is connecting most of the households, so we can use that approach of connecting households to provide internet connectivity. So that's one example. There are other options which the government is exploring. And those of you who are not familiar with India, we have a unique identification program. Every Indian is supposed to get Aadhaar card. So that is a number given to every Indian, and we get a card which has a number which is unique to every individual in the country. And we are looking at how we can explore this connectivity so that every Indian is connected for health care through this unique identification system. And many benefits of direct cash transfer is already flowing through this approach. You may have heard about subsidy for the liquid petroleum gas LPG, which is provided to the consumers, and the subsidy for that is already flowing through the Aadhaar identification into the bank accounts of the individual. So there is innovation waiting for us to explore with this rapidly expanding connectivity. And I feel very strongly India can leapfrog to solve its health problems, provided we use various initiatives which are already being taken by Government of India. Digital India we talked about in the previous slide, and rapidly connecting the whole country, and hopefully all the Indians through network to avail of the services, including healthcare. Startup India is another campaign which has been started in India, and there is a scheme called People's Wealth Jan Dhan Yojana, through which every Indian is encouraged to have a bank account. So a huge number of bank accounts are being opened up by the people who never visited bank in the past. So many of these subsidies will start going directly to the beneficiaries. Make in India is another initiative started by the government, and lot of products which were imported into India, including medical devices, are now encouraged to be produced in India. There are four device manufacturing sites which are being put in place by the government, and this will encourage local production of medical devices. Aadhaar bill for direct benefit transfer has been passed by the government. This is essentially an economic bill, and this needs to expand to social services as well. So incentives do make a difference, and there is initiative being taken by government to provide the incentive to the service providers as well as to the population in terms of benefit transfer. So these initiatives, if I can summarize, we have Digital India, we have National Skill Development Corporation, which is looking at building skills across professions in the areas where we need them the most. There is another campaign called Clean India campaign, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and that is contributing to improvement in health by providing sanitation, hygiene and clean water at village level, and the Ministry of Health and NHSRC tapped into it and moved into providing clean hospitals called Kaya Kalp transformation program, in which you transform the health facilities to make them neat and clean. So that initiative is very popular. Recently we had a national summit in which awards were given to various hospitals across the country for moving their hospitals into meeting the minimum standards of cleanliness. So these are some of the opportunities we have in India which are waiting to be tapped. And coming to the innovations, NHSRC is the lead agency in supporting Ministry of Health in the field of innovations in health. The states are encouraged to include innovations in their program implementation plans, and these are the plans prepared by the states, submitted to the center, and central government provides them money. Depending on the development status of the state, they get 75% of money from the center and 25% is added by the states. Some of the states which are relatively less developed, they get 90% share, and 10% share is provided by the center. This is the central contribution, but in an average state in India, 1/3 of the funding comes from the central government and 2/3 of the funding for health comes from the state's own budget. But this is more like a catalyst. The priority programs are funded by the center so that states can move faster. So all states are encouraged to include innovation in their plans, and these are funded by the Ministry of Health at central level. Government also organizes national summits on good and innovative practices. 2 such summits have been held in which states are encouraged to showcase the innovations they have done to address the burden of disease, bring down the cost, and to reach those who are not being reached, and these innovations are replicable. So these 2 summits, and next summit we are planning in the month of July or August. We need to firm up the dates, where we will look at what more innovations have been done since the last summit was held. The third initiative, which on instruction from Ministry of Health, Government of India, NHSRC has done, is set up National Health Innovation Portal to facilitate uploading of the innovation. They can go on the website. We'll look at the website later, and they can upload innovations. These innovations are processed, reviewed, evaluated, and then recommendations are given to the Ministry of Health. They can be scaled up in the whole country, or we need to spend some more time in implementing them before they are ready for the scale up. To give you some examples from these innovations, we have non-invasive hemoglobinometer, and those of you who are familiar with health scenario in India, anemia, especially in pregnant women and adolescent girls, is a major problem in the country, and if we have this device available, you will not have to collect blood, and through touch to the skin you will be able to get hemoglobin estimate, and it will facilitate us to know the hemoglobin and put in place the treatment. Similarly, we have non-invasive glucometer. India is known as the diabetes capital of the world, and the problem in last 35 years, the prevalence has increased 4 times, and we are struggling with detecting diabetes early, putting them on treatment while continuing to work on prevention of diabetes. Urine strip analyzer, SMS and enabled patient monitor are some more examples, and all these innovations are available on our website if somebody wants to see what innovations have been added. Before we move further, I thought of clarifying conceptually, when you look at the population health, what are the population groups you need to look at. The main effort should be not on the diseases. Main effort should be keeping those who are healthy, keeping them healthy. So if you divide the whole population, they will broadly fall into 4 categories. First group will be healthy population, and this population is any point in time will be majority of the population. This population has no risk factor. For example, if your parents are diabetic, you are more likely to become diabetic. So they don't have any such risk factor, and obviously they don't have any disease. So in this population, we need to promote healthy lifestyle, prevent risk factors, which is also referred to as primordial prevention, and prevention of disorders and health problems. Then the second group is the population with the risk factors. I give you an example. Those who have diabetic parents are more likely to become diabetic. So in this population again, you need to promote health, and maybe they need screening more often than those who have no risk factor. Then you need to take action on the risk factor. You need to build their resilience so that they can withstand the disease if it happens, and maintain healthy lifestyles, which in fact cuts across all the 4 population groups. Then you have population with disease, which neither the population knows and nor the service provider know. That give you another same example of diabetes. In India, if there are 4 diabetics, only 1 is known to the system. There are about 3 of them out of 4 who are not known to the system, they are not aware. So in this population, we need to continue to look at early detection, and those who are found to be suffering from disease need to be treated and provided proper care. And maintaining healthy lifestyle is equally important for this age group. And then you look at disability limitation and rehabilitation. When it comes to the population who knows that they have a disease, and the system also is aware, there you need to continue focus on treatment and care, maintain healthy lifestyle, which I said earlier cuts across all 4 population groups, and then disability limitation and rehabilitation. So it's very important for us to look at the need for health for the whole population, not just look at the disease. Very often I come across people who talk about population health. When you go into detail, they are only looking at diseased population, not looking at the population which is healthy. Next one. So if you want to look at what kills Indians in India, there are about 98 million Indians who die every year. Are we addressing the major killers? If you look at what is the number 1 killer, it is diseases related to cardiovascular system, hypertension, stroke, and coronary artery disease. So 28% of Indians die of this. Then you look at other non-communicable diseases, which includes cancer, which includes chronic obstructive lung disease, and diabetes. And if you look at other NCDs, they all put together account for 60% of deaths. And what about the remaining 40%? Around 12% of them die because of accident and injuries. So these 2 components, injuries, non-communicable diseases, are increasing by the day. And what is squeezing into smaller and smaller proportion are communicable diseases, maternal, neonatal, child-related issues, and nutritional conditions, which account together for 28%. So that still remains to be addressed, because we still have very high infant, child, and maternal mortality ratio, very high prevalence of nutritional diseases. So we need to continue our work on that, but start looking at non-communicable diseases, accidents, and injuries. Next one, please. So this is looking at the framework of healthcare. The most important person is individual. We often come across health professionals who give an impression as I am more concerned about your health than you are. That is not the reality. Each one of us is very concerned about our health, and we need to keep the individuals and their families in the center of healthcare, especially when it comes to health promotion. So that perspective needs to change. Looking at health facilities, looking at hospitals and health professionals, we need to move to families, communities, and where people live and spend most of their time. So we need to change that perspective. So, and sphere of influence starts with individual, not with health facilities and not with the Ministry of Health. Next one, please. So this is coming to National Health Innovation Portal. And as I said, it is a platform for collection and dissemination of good practices and innovation. and the innovations are uploaded, and these are reviewed by two committees. Next one, please. So this is when you visit the website, you will see this National Health Innovation Portal. Then you can go to Upload portal. You can look at devices, and you can look at program innovation. These are the two groups. So next one, please. So when you have program innovations in one category, and you have product innovations in other categories. In program innovations, we look at services, how we can reach out to those who are not being reached. There are a few examples we will talk about later, and those who need to be referred, they are appropriately referred. It looks at issues related to governance. It looks at treatment compliance, how can we improve that. It looks at reducing the cost of care or out-of-pocket expenditure for those of you who are familiar with health economics. On the other side, we have medical devices. We have innovative technologies, including healthcare information technology. You have mobile health, you have telehealth and e-health. Move on. So, but we cannot look at everything. So we have prepared inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria, what can be uploaded on this site and what cannot be uploaded. Inclusion criteria is relevant to health needs of the country, address endemic health problems and or diseases, facilitates accessibility, affordability, reduce the cost of care, ensure quality and safety of healthcare products or processes, bridge the skill gap required in service delivery. In exclusion criteria, drugs, surgical, medical procedures, practices that need evaluation through one or more processes, including randomized control trial, systematic reviews, meta-analysis. So these are to be excluded. We have other platforms for carrying out in-depth study on these aspects. And if there is incomplete documentation, we can't proceed further. So that includes the exclusion criteria. And how do we screen? We have a 6-member committee within National Health System Resource Center, which does the initial screening, essentially looking at completeness of the information provided. And then there is an in-depth review by the 2 committees which have experts from outside NHSRC, including representatives of the ministry and research organizations. Next one, please. So all proposals which are received are scored, looking at geographical coverage and how long the innovations have been tried out. And if there has been any independent evaluation carried out, we look at the results of that, and financial implication and scalability of the innovation. So these are the 4 broad criteria on which we give a score. So more than 100 have been uploaded, and in program 7 of those which were uploaded in the program fulfilled the criteria. We are still reviewing the technology innovations, how many of them come up to the mark, so that we can proceed further. Then give you a few examples of how access to healthcare is being improved in India. For example, we have free essential drug program being implemented in almost all the states, but some states are more advanced, like Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, but almost all states have started work on it. It's a web-based supply chain management system. To give you an example, I visited Rajasthan. I went to 11 health facilities, and when they were giving prescription to a patient, it was uploaded on the website, and anybody who has access to the system in state capital will know which drugs are moving out fast, which drugs are going to have stock out in future, and it is linked to the inventory, and the replenishment is connected with that. And you have information related to all the drug warehouses. If one warehouse is running short of drugs, the other steps in to provide medicine to the health facility. So it is multi-user and multi-location storage system which is working very efficiently. In fact, I used to work in Rajasthan till 1994, and I went back to visit Rajasthan in 2014. I could see a sea change in availability of medicine, practically close to zero stock outs of essential medicine in those 20 years when I revisited the state. So substantial improvement, and my health economists experts in India tell me 60 to 70% of effects on health that is out-of-pocket expenditure, is incurred on essential drugs. So this is going to reduce a lot of out-of-pocket expenditure by providing free and essential drugs. Next one, please. So this is another example of healthcare anytime medicine. We call it ATM. So about 25% of primary health centers in India do not have a doctor. And I often tell my colleagues, when I joined medical school in 1971, I heard there are no doctors in rural areas. I still hear that. So it has not improved in 45 years. I don't know how many more years it will take. So at least as of now, you have a system. This is like the dispensing machines you see at the airport for cold drinks and snacks. So medicines have been uploaded through mobile telephony. There is an access to a doctor, and an ANM who's sitting next to the machine, she is in touch with the doctor, and through SMS enabled system, after listening to the patient and carrying out minimum examination, he sends a message and the machine dispenses the medicine, which the ANM explains to the patient, and patient can receive medication without being physically present with the doctor. So this is going to help us, and the pilot is being done in 5 states, and the feedback we have is it is very successful. Next one, please. So then there are other examples of telemedicine. There is a remote state called Tripura in the northeast of the country. They have, I am told, only about 10 ophthalmologists. They cannot be available in primary health centers and community health centers. So all PHC and all CHCs are connected through internet with the doctor, ophthalmologist who is sitting probably in medical school in Agartala, and he looks at all the examinations being carried out, and then he dispenses the medicine. And I was told that 95% of patients with eye problem can be handled very close to their home in primary health facilities. This has been scaled up in the whole state, and other states are in the process of scaling it up. The second example is teleradiology. It has been scaled up in Andhra Pradesh, Tripura and 2 more states, and every X-ray machine in these states is connected through a machine which transmits the radiological images to the radiologist sitting hundreds of kilometers away. He may be the honorary physician to the President of India. So a common man sitting in peripheral area will get opinion of the best radiologist on the X-rays being taken. So these are 2 examples of how we can provide services in the remote areas. The third example I want to share with you is automation of fund flow. We in India always struggled with looking at getting real-time information, how much funds are being used, where and for which activities. So this is internet-enabled service provided by Government of India, and where you can look at where the public finances are going, where they are being used, and which under which head the funds are running low and they need to get more funding. Similarly, it is being used for automation of recording, verification and calculation of payment to the most peripheral health volunteer, accredited social health activist. She comes back from work, sits at the PHC with help of a IT person, feeds in the data, and after that data, it has been verified earlier, after that data is uploaded, money is transferred to her account based on what work she has done and how much was the incentive for carrying out those activities. We are using electronic funds transfer for making payment directly into the bank accounts of the beneficiaries. There is a direct bank transfer into the account of the beneficiaries who avail services for which financial benefit is provided to the beneficiaries. And there are examples across the country, Asha Soft in Rajasthan and Karnataka. There is a HOPE project in Bihar and in Delhi as well for transferring funds to the volunteers, accredited social health activities. They are using this system. Next one, please. There are other related initiatives. country's first medical devices manufacturing park. There are 4 of them coming up. Work has started in 3, and this will bring down the cost of medical devices. A large proportion of them are being imported into the country. Not only meeting India's need, there is a big potential for India to become exporter of these devices, which will, I am sure, like generic medicines from India, which are one of the cheapest in the world, but the best quality. These products also will be very low cost, but meeting the international standards of quality. Country's first dedicated medical devices testing laboratory is being set up in National Capital Region and also in a city called Vadodara in Gujarat. We didn't have any of these things in India, and government has established that. Cold chain equipment which we were importing. In India provides 60% of the vaccine given to any child anywhere in the world. But unfortunately we were not making cold chain equipment, though we make a huge amount of commercial and domestic equipment for refrigeration. So country has started moving into that. And another exciting development is almost all of 27 million pregnant mothers, this number is more than population of Nepal, are connected through mobile telephone, and they get real-time information on depending on the stage of pregnancy and the age of the child. The messages are directly transmitted and they are being tracked. Next one, please. That's what I had to share with you. A lot of exciting thing going on in India, and I am sure must be happening in other parts of the world. We need to learn from each other, but there are challenges. One is, are these innovations appropriate to the need of the country? Are these identified right in time, early enough? And then if they are meeting the first 2 criteria, are they being scaled rapidly enough so that we can reach the last beneficiary? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar. There are a few questions. When you have a sip of water and see what questions are, I think I will be talking for 4 minutes to what has been already spoken. Well, India is really in transition phase. We are on the moon, we are on the Mars, we are on Antarctica, and we are also on bullock cart economy. Our people, 70% are in the rural setting. There are many developing countries have that, but those developing countries are not nuclear powers. So this one has to really see, we have great potential, but there's still something has to be thought. As per World Bank, there's a $1 a day, 40% population gets it. We have 5th country in the obese list. We also have a big malnutrition in the country. So you would find how people are trying to tackle it. They are tackling it by reverse innovation, frugal innovation, etc. And what they are looking at us, can we bring down the cost? Cost is one issue. With 17% GDP, US is not making the people happy. We have around 2% of GDP in the government sector, not even 2, but now being announced, and additionally in the private sector. So we are also definitely not in that state what it should be. World Economic Forum has brought a terminology when thought lots of good innovations are happening, and it is called now Indovation, Indian innovation. Well, little lighter side of it, but the serious note, China has put up, why not we do so many innovations, there had to be some Chinovation. I'm sure it would be very shortly would be there. There are books which have been written. Myself, I have also authored a book which was published in March 2015 in US on healthcare innovations, where my co-founder is also written a chapter. There are 3 US citizen Indian origin have written a book, Jugaad, and that is the one which became one of the bestseller in the people wanted to read what all. But Jugaad is not all about health. They have done only 2 case studies on health. But we are talking. Incidentally, PHFI, some 4 or 5 people also written some case study on healthcare innovation, is published by Amazon. So I know totally how many books have been, and that is what it is. Now the best issue at large is, there is Vinod Khosla. I have quoted him in my book because I had a big tiff with him. He's a billionaire in Silicon Valley, and he says, I don't need a doctor. He's a computer chap, billionaire. My computer can do everything. So I had a tip, can computer do everything? Will you like to be treated? Yes. Computer can take the interface of taking your blood pressures, your so many other things, your ECG, etc. before you go to the doctor. But you definitely cannot. There are robots, there are so many things. The one thing must remember, technology has to be simple, acceptable by people. And you can see what I mean acceptable by people. Everything of the US may not be fitting in India because of our literacy rate, etc. But we can customize it. And we should not become slave of technology, but we must direct the technology. That is very, very important when you develop something for any country. And that is known that many of these things probably, now you know I was talking to very high profile nuclear physicist who is working on the field of innovation, and he brought what all he had done in the health sector. Well, you might be reading in the newspaper, etc. After some time you will not require the people for reproduction purpose. It's all stem cells and everything can be done. Back to Dr. Sanjeev, that there are some questions. If we can take on, we have another 10 minutes for question answer. After that we'll sum it up.
Thanks.
I also wanted to give that initially we did not put the PPT in the food mode screen. And thank you for a person who pointed out on our this, and we did that.
Technology is as good as the users are.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll start with the easiest question if it's okay with you. Is India portal available only to Indian citizens? Unfortunately, yes, only to Indian citizens, because this is an initiative within India. But that doesn't mean people who are uploading innovations don't look outside India. You know, a lot more innovations will come from looking outside India. But yes, for uploading it is available to only those who are in India. The next one is a very important question somebody has raised, is how are we going to use the Smart Cities initiative? And from the examples I gave you, Smart Cities initiative can immediately scale up the cash transfer to the beneficiaries, the incentive which is given to them. It can immediately use the incentives which are being transferred to the most peripheral health functionaries. It can link the Aadhaar card, and recently I read that more than 90% of Indians have an Aadhaar card, which is a unique identification number which government is scaling up. So very soon you will have the only document which will reach 100% of Indian population and can identify them. So that can be scaled up immediately, and all the programs, policies, including the health record, can be linked up to Aadhaar card. And those of you who are not familiar, if I am hypertensive, I go to a sub-center and they record my blood pressure and label me hypertensive. I go to PHC, they label me hypertensive, then I go to the next higher level, so I am reported as 4 hypertensives. But if it is linked to Aadhaar card, I will be immediately identified. Oh, this is the person who went last month to this facility, his blood pressure was this much, today it is this much, and it can be managed better. And then the government is moving into providing family folder to every family, which will have information about every individual in the family. These initiatives are some examples which can be scaled up in the country, starting with smart cities, which will have much faster access to internet. Then the next question is, what are we doing to take digital health to startups, young minds? There is an initiative in which National Health System Resource Center is engaged. We conduct workshops on health technology assessment for young, bright minds from medical schools, from biotechnology institutions, from IITs. Those of you who are not familiar, Indian Institutes of Technology are the leading engineering institute, and I am told you look at the brightest mind in Silicon Valley, you will find many of them come from these institutions. So we look at them and we send out an announcement. They come up with proposals. What are the technology area they want to work at? And then this is reviewed by experts from academic institutions, NHSRC, and Department of Health Research in the Ministry of Health, and they identify innovations which meet the requirement of the country. Then they are brought together, they are taken through some training, skill building for a week, and then they go back and start working on the innovation they had submitted. More than 300 of them have been trained across in 6 workshops, and this is in demand. Many of my colleagues have conducted this technology assessment training workshop in US, in China, and recently they did it in South Africa. So this is an initiative taken by NHSRC, which is very popular both across developed and developing countries. And then the first question, which I am coming to last, is new initiative, if any, and what more is planned for the for future. We just facilitate, we don't plan any innovation. Innovations are planned by state government, are planned by academic institution, are planned by individual entrepreneurs. We just facilitate their moving in the right direction, and if we feel these innovations have capability of addressing health problems, then we help them in scaling up. If an innovation is cleared by these committees which I mentioned earlier in the Health Innovation Portal, it is recommended to the Ministry of Health that these innovations can be scaled just not in one state but across the whole country. So that is our job, to be more of a catalyst, build capacity, and then identify the right innovations and recommend for Government of India to fund them so that they can be scaled up in the whole country. So this is what I had from the questions which were raised by the participants who joined us in webinar. There's some more?
Yes, some more.
Okay.
Just dropping by. There's somebody who asked, Afreen Sayyed. He said, can we have your presentation? Let me tell you things, because that's more administrative, so I thought, let me also show my presence here, talking. So Dr. Sanjeev will not be able to. All these free webinars are on our website. We have all your emails, we'll be writing to you. And by lots of surveys and feedbacks, you've decided it will be on Friday at this time, second Friday once in quarter. And on website the dates are given, the resource person and the topics are not given. Why at this time? Because there are people from the US, people from the India, so we decided this. Last time we did it on Saturday and I think they were cursing us, the Westerners. So they said, so we have come back to the Friday. We will put it, and we are also trying our best. Alok is here, who is trying his best that he takes all the shots and puts on YouTube. And every presentation and everything would be put up on our website along with the links will be sent to you. And we will upload it, give us a few days. And then those who have not attended, you can share. It's something, the knowledge sharing, etc. And second thing I also wanted to know that case studies, if you have any, please do send us. Newsletter we are bringing every once in a quarter. Our first magazine on InnoHealth will be also coming, which would be sometime in July. It will go e-copies and print copies will be 25,000 data we have collected for global health people, senior to the junior. So those who want their name to be included in that data, you can write now, you can send a mail to us and we'll take care of it. Idea is that you let us give, okay, fine. So I come back. If,
there is one more question which has come. How can we harness Digital India to ensure that every health center is connected, the quality of health services are provided, and we ensure that doctors, staff, drugs and services are available. In fact, in the Digital India initiative, they have identified 2 priority sectors. One is education and second is health. We, the health professionals in India, need to give it to the government that what can be done to improve health through this initiative. So the priorities are always drawn, but we have to do our homework to do that. I gave you example of how drugs can be made available and how we can eliminate stock out. And if every health facility is connected, every health worker will be connected, you can link even the health human resource management system to it, and every functionary you can look at on real-time basis who's doing what and what is going on. You can identify even skill gaps. You don't have doctors in every health facility. We gave you an example how technology will help you remotely connecting to a doctor through teleophthalmology, through teleradiology, or through anytime medicine initiative. So the potential is huge. It is for you and me, the health professionals, to tell the government this is what is replicable, needs to be scaled up to address the priority areas. So I am excited about the possibility we have. Let's do our homework and go back to the technology people, how we can use it.
I thought we will not take any other question, but I can't refuse the last question. The why it has come from some very senior doctor whom also I happen to know is from FMC, and I am from FMC. They always come in last minute. That is nothing new, and they know how to grab their way through. So this is the last question, sir, and then after
Yes. How are you, Dr. Balika? I am letting out the name because we know him very well. So can community get together and pool their risk? Certainly. You and me and others who are working this area need to put our thoughts together. And as I mentioned, Ministry of Health, Government of India, NHSRC and many other partners are committed to look at the feasible solutions. So certainly the community can get together and pool not only their risk, pool their knowledge, pool their needs, and what are their expectations from the health system. Since every village is going to be connected through Digital India initiative, we can certainly look at that. And Dr. Balika, we can continue our dialogue even after this webinar is over. And thanks for very valuable question.
The Professor Agrawal has commented, very nice, sir, it was excellent exposition, and let's have more often, maybe every month. So let's see, we'll see how it is. And I'm really grateful to the NHSRC and Executive Director, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, who has given his time and his place where we could conduct this, and there are some people also in this hall who are doing it, who are also attending it.
We'll just give you a glimpse of them. I'll just move around the camera if it is allowed by our IT colleagues. So there are many people in this room as well. So I'll just give you a glimpse of that.
Yeah. And I'm thankful to Sachin and also Alok, who are people working with me. Okay. Thank you very much. So nice of you.
Thank you. It was an honor interacting with you. Thank you so much.